Darren Rovell from the Action Network here with Jay Croucher, the director of trading for PointsBet. Jay, a bunch of interesting games to talk about this weekend. I want to start with the Tennessee Titans playing the New Orleans Saints at home. They're only 2.5-point favorites. Given how good the Titans have played, especially last week, and Trevor Siemian, who is a Northwestern guy who I love, he's a good friend, but he hasn't really had much to his name. That line just looks wrong. To me, it should be at least 3.5. So how do we get to 2.5 there? Why is it staying there?
So this is reflecting basically that we don't think Tennessee is nearly as good as their record. They have a very good chance of getting the 1 seed just based on what they've done the past month, that they've knocked in some tiebreakers and they've got a really easy schedule the rest of the way. But this team, in terms of their underlying numbers, Matthew Stafford has gifted them that game on Sunday night with just 2 moments of twirling madness. But outside of that, Tennessee didn't play that well against the Rams, at least as well as the final score would indicate. So this mainly just reflects that we don't really believe in Tennessee. Their defense has gotten a lot better, but we don't think it's elite. And then the offense still has some question marks without Derrick Henry. And meanwhile, the Saints, while obviously very disappointing to lose to Atlanta at home, the Saints defense is excellent. It's one of the best units in the league. They still have weapons. We'll see what Kamara's health is like. And then your guy, Trevor Siemian, he's probably looked a little bit better than most would expect. So we think the Saints are a really solid team. This line reflects that we think that Tennessee is slightly better than them, neutral field, but it's pretty close.
Very interesting. You guys think about the minutia of Stafford's interceptions, where most people just look at the final score and they make their opinions, but that's what being a bookmaker is about. Mike White didn't get a chance to have his next great game, getting knocked out last week, but he will come back. Now we have them as 13.5-point dogs, the Jets, against the Buffalo Bills, who did not have a good week last week. 13.5. Are we going to see that number hit 14 or 14.5? Which way is it going now?
So this line is actually already trickling back down in the Jets' favor. So it's creeping towards 11. So it's a pretty strange world we're living in where Mike White is moving an NFL line multiple points, but that's where we're at the moment. We think that Mike White is perfectly solid. This Bills team has got a lot of question marks. Obviously, they look dreadful against Jacksonville. The offensive line being banged up hurts them. And now they've fallen out of that. I mean, they were Super Bowl favorites heading into last week, and we don't view them right now as that caliber of team. And so that's why Mike White is starting to get the respect.
Let's talk about Green Bay. There's a guy named Aaron Rodgers who has been in the news. When we look at the Green Bay-Seattle game and Green Bay being 3.5-point favorites, what goes into that, especially after we saw Jordan Love not necessarily being the man?
No, Jordan Love definitely wasn't the man. He looked like probably the worst quarterback in the NFL. And I think that this line is baking in a little bit of expectation that Jordan Love might play. We expect that Rodgers will play and that he's strong favorite to play, but there is some chance that you will get Jordan Love, at which point the line drastically changes.
Are people betting on that now to try to get a jump on that?
Most people are betting on Seattle. And so, the look-ahead line on this was Green Bay -5.5. And when that was the look-ahead line, there was probably more of a chance we thought that Rodgers would play than Wilson. But now that's flipped. Now we think that Wilson definitely plays. And Rodgers, while he likely plays, it's not guaranteed. So that's what the line is reflecting. Suspect it will tick back up in Green Bay's favor if Rodgers is 100% good to go. But I think this line also speaks to the fact that Seattle, when they have Russell Wilson, we view them as definitely a playoff level team and, not that much worse than even full strength Green Bay.
Finally, I want to talk about Kansas City. We've always been focused on the totals on Kansas City because everyone always thinks that, Patrick Mahomes is going to hit the over, and that has not been the case for the last couple of weeks for sure. 52 on that number, Vegas versus Kansas City. What are people still automatically betting the over on anything Mahomes?
They are for the most part. They're still definitely betting the Kansas City side on anything Mahomes. People seem to be still pretty glutton for punishment with Kansas City and are just backing them whenever the number looks small. But with the over, this total would have been higher a couple of weeks ago, no doubt. But just with how bad the Chiefs' offense has looked, especially the past 3 weeks, there's been that adjustment down. This Raiders defense is a lot better than we anticipated at the start of the year. They get a lot of pressure. And really with Kansas City, even though they've won the past 2 games, we have a lower opinion of Kansas City than we did 2 weeks ago, despite those 2 wins, just because of how bad the offense looked against the Giants and then against Green Bay. Mahomes just couldn't do anything against Green Bay. Just the yards per play was bizarrely low. Before a couple of weeks ago, we were baking in that, Kansas City were the best offense in the league. Now we're not. Now we need them to show us something before we get back to that thought.
Jay Croucher, the director of trading for PointsBet, thanks for getting us inside the book for another week.
Thanks, Darren.
Make sure you check out all of PointsBet's promotions, including this one for Sunday Night Football.